everyone, and welcome into the broadcast here on this Sunday evening. It's regional weather meteorologist Matt Wentz with you here on the Sunday evening. A lot of kids back in school. That's how our house feels. There's routine again. We've got it back. It feels good. I don't know how you feel. I know not everyone watching this has kids, but that's kind of our world right now. And yeah, things are back into session and feeling good. So hopefully you guys are feeling the same way. It's going to be hot around here this week, and I want to get real about this heat. Heat isn't something necessarily exciting to talk about. I mean, you're just looking at numbers all day, but my goodness, we've got just a period of some incredible heat for this time of year. I mean, it's late summer season, right? We're getting ready to head into fall, and we've got some incredible heat coming our way, even if it was midsummer. Heat, I just want to point this out, is if you take all the weather issues, right? Like tornadoes and severe weather and flooding and all that. Heat is the number one killer in terms of weather. All right. All right. If you don't know that, I mean, that's why we need to take this seriously this week, because you just can't get away from it. And people that don't have AC and don't have a way to cool themselves, those are the folks that need our help. If any of you are those folks, please take care of yourself. Libraries, cooling centers, all that good stuff. Just take care of your body, because it's going to get hot around here and there's not going to be much relief even at night. So that's what we're going to hit on. How warm are we going to get? How hot are we going to get? There's a real chance that we get some nasty storms around here too. This is going to be a busy week. We highlighted this last week. And I was also thinking, remember we were looking, I think it was 2 weeks ago, we were looking at the GFS and it was saying 100 degrees this week. And I remember making fun of it. I was like, well, that's kind of tough to do this time of year. We're not going to hit 100, at least in terms of the temperature. But the GFS was actually onto this about 2 weeks ago. It was latching onto this ridge. The Euro, all the other models thought, low 90s ought to do it. And we knew it was going to get hot around here. But boy, the GFS actually was the closest in about a 2-week span, looking out. So kind of interesting there. All right, I've got sponsors to get through. Also want to thank Early Birds. Jeff's with us. Jeff, good evening to you. Good evening to you, Susan. Thanks for joining us as well. Phoebe says, Matt, me first. Phoebe, you were third on the list. You guys are so fast. So other Susan on YouTube, thanks for joining us. Ruth, thanks for being with us tonight. Good evening to you, Stephen. Reed's with us as well. Let's see. Yeah, it's going to get hot, Debbie. We'll talk about it. Amanda, thanks for joining us here tonight as well. And yeah, Ethan's with us as well. Yeah, I think we have a real chance for some severe weather. We could have some really potent storms this week. Hi, Debbie and Darlene. Thanks for joining us on our YouTube channel. All right, let me get to the maps real quick. Actually, let me first thank our sponsors. I'm going to be brief because we've got a lot to get through, but these sponsors keep things going here. FBIbuildings.com, place to go. They do pole barn construction. They do renovation of pole barns. Let's say you already have one. Whether it be on residential property or for commercial businesses, they'll renovate someone else's work that's maybe fallen apart. They also build new ones. Guys, go to their webpage or check them out on Facebook. They do amazing work all over the Midwest. They build over 20,000 pole barns. If you need that constructed or need one renovated, FBIbuildings.com is the place to go. And yes, this is Pip, our cat. He is the sweetest. He is the sweetest cat. We've got 3 cats. Hi, I didn't mean to wake you up. We've got 3 cats, all rescues. And I actually last night, side note, last night I had the privilege of emceeing a big event here in Northeast Ohio in the Akron area for the Summit County Humane Society. We raised like almost $140,000, which is crazy awesome. But I got to MC that event all night and deal with pets, and it was just wonderful. Great community down there. But anyway, we got Pip not from that place, but we got Pip from another rescue. And Pip's story, we got him when he was a kitten. I know you guys aren't asking for this, but this is a cool story. And a lot of you are pet lovers like we are. We got Pip. He was a rescue. The EMS workers in the county that we live in, it was January, and they drove by. They were going to emergency, and they drove by a kitten in the middle of the road, like in a puddle in the middle of January, freezing. It was him. And he was malnourished, just terrible shape, and they brought him back to life. They healed him. He was still living, but had all sorts of issues and all that. And we ended up adopting him as a little kitten, and we got reunited with the EMS workers, which was so cool. But Pip is the sweetest cat. Like, I'm not a huge cat person. I'm more of a dog person. My wife's a big cat person, and he's the best cat ever. Like, my son will like be carrying him around, and I'm like, Wyatt, put him down. Like, he doesn't want to be carried like that. And then he'll like lay on him and Pip just falls asleep. Like Pip is just he wants to be held. He's purring all the time because I think because he got rescued, and humans are amazing to him. So anyway, he is such a sweet boy. And then we have another kitten, which we named Gizmo, which was also a rescue, which we just got. Gizmo's real tiny. He's a fluff ball. He's a long-haired cat. Sometimes he's around here. And then our oldest, Winston, is a long-haired black cat. And Winston's also rescue, and he's just wonderful as well. So anyway, cat sitting in this basket here. So I don't want you to see something moving and freak out. So that's my whole point. I'm sorry. I've wasted too much of your time. All right. Our next sponsor, Minogue.life, is a website to go for things like Medicare, Medicaid, life insurance. It's all a mess, right? And this is stuff that you need to get right, okay, in your life. Something like life insurance, for example, is something that you can't wait for. You want to take care of that when you're healthy, okay? You don't want to wait till, God willing, something bad's happening, okay? You want to have that plan in place. It's kind of like, if I had to put it into weather terms, it's kind of like having a severe weather plan, right? You want to know where you're going to go, how the process is going to go. Do you have too much for severe weather? Do you not have enough? What is it? That's how life insurance goes. And Michael Minogue has been doing this for decades, and he's helped a lot of you, which is awesome. I just want to make sure if you don't know how much life insurance you need, you might be paying too much and you might be wasting your money. You might not have enough. Michael can figure all that out for you. He'd be happy to help you out. Again, it's Minogue.life is the website. PSA, it's our public service adjusters. God willing, we don't need them this week. But if you have any storm damage or any insurance claims, you go to them first. You don't deal with your insurance company. They'll do it for you. They'll do everything between you and your insurance company, and they take the guesswork out. It's awesome. 5-star reviews across the board, publicserviceadjusting.com. You're going to want to get used to ewingmech.com as a website. Guys, if your AC is not working right now, call them. They'll get out there as soon as they can, hopefully next couple days. ewingmech.com. They have tune-up specials for ACs. They can install a new unit fast. They've got great specials still. It's a $69 tune-up, which is great. ewingmech.com. Tigerplumbing.net, our favorite Northwest Indiana plumbers. They've been with us for over 2 years now. They're just wonderful. They come out for free, which is crazy. So if you've got water going somewhere it's not supposed to, tigerplumbing.net, place to go. You can even schedule on your mobile, which is easy. You can see when they're coming. You can take a picture of the problem. Finally, Grieger's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Valparaiso. They've been serving Northwest Indiana for decades as well. Family-owned business, wonderful folks. If you need a new Jeep, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, or Ram, Grieger's is a place to go in Valpo, right there on US 30. All right, let's dive into the forecast, shall we? Here we go. What are all these pink colors, you ask? This isn't the prettiest map. I like pretty maps, things that look good. Weather Service maps just look so old school to me. Here's the point. All these pretty colors aren't pretty, okay? This is where the heat is. These are all excessive heat watches, warnings, and advisories, all right? Kind of weird to see it here, right? But this is where the core of the heat is. And this happened back in June, where the heat from the desert Southwest, there's always a dome of high pressure where it's just scorching hot, right? That dome of heat shifted out towards New York in June. Remember, we were on the western periphery of it, and they had all sorts of record highs in New York, Vermont, Pennsylvania, all that, right? That's because this dome can kind of wobble all over the country, all right? And in the last couple of years, it's spent a lot of time in the West Coast, from like Seattle to Portland down towards California. So it can go all over the place. Our problem this week is that that dome of high pressure, that heat dome, so to speak, is going to be centered right over Northwest Indiana. So we will be amongst the hottest places in the entire country, hotter than Phoenix, hotter than areas of the Deep South. It just matters where that goes, okay? And you can see it here. Here's our map with pretty colors as well. This is the water vapor. The water vapor to me shows the flow of air masses. Remember, the air mass and the atmosphere above us is fluid, okay? It's like a bathtub. It's just full and moving all the time, okay? It's no wonder that we can even predict the weather, okay? Because it's always moving. It doesn't stop. And so you can see that flow really well on water vapor. And what I want to point out here is that we have an area of low pressure coming into Louisiana, which that's usually where high pressure is down here, right? And then off towards the north of that is this bubble of high pressure. So we've got a system coming in from the west that's kicking this dome of heat out. We also have this low pressure coming into Louisiana that's pushing it up. So that's kind of what made this bubble kind of settle over us. It's right over Kansas right now, but it's a really strong high pressure even for this time of year. And there's a lot of sinking air, a lot of compressing air underneath that. And that compression heats things up, all right, big time. And we're already seeing the heat moving on in. So what we're going to do here to start off the forecast, I'm going to talk heat, talk how hot we get. Can't say that. And we'll talk about when it goes away as well. And then there's a severe weather component to this as well. All right, that one's not a slam dunk. The heat is. Okay, so let's dive in. Here's your dome of heat right now. This is a 596. It's actually up to 600 on the modeling. There you go, 600 DM. It's decameters, but anyway, it's a really strong high, like about as hot as we can get this time of year underneath the high. But it's centered over Kansas. This is tonight. And tomorrow, we were on the periphery today. We hit 90 at Porter County Airport today. I've got us at 94 tomorrow for a high. Tuesday's going to be the scorching hot day. Okay, so tomorrow's going to be hot. Don't mess around tomorrow. But here's your Tuesday. Notice how it kind of moves right over Northwest Indiana. I know it looks like it's weakening, and it will start to weaken a little bit and settle back down to the south. But there's still plenty of hot air underneath that, and it will be centered over our area tomorrow. Or not tomorrow, Tuesday. Wednesday, notice how it kind of backs down, but it doesn't go away. And so all the way through really Friday at this point, we're going to be dealing with the heat before we get a front in here Friday that clears things out, okay? And then it does look like we get some kind of dome of heat back into the area. Doesn't look quite as potent, though, okay? This is the big deal here, is this baby right here, okay? That's a big deal. All right, so let's dive into what that means temperature-wise. So let's get into it. What I've thrown on here are your apparent temperatures or your feels like temperatures. So these are your heat indices, okay? So let's talk about that. Here's tomorrow. This is what it feels like. These aren't air temperatures. Who cares what the air temperature is? It matters what it feels like. So that combination of heat and humidity, which is going to be really high on Tuesday, that's how you get your heat index or what it feels like, okay? That's the number that matters. Who cares what your air temperature is, all right? So tomorrow afternoon, we're going to be feeling more like 98 to 100. All right. I agree with that. I've got us in the 96 to 101 range tomorrow afternoon. Look at the core of this, where the center of that is from Missouri to Illinois to Iowa. I mean, that's crazy. Feeling like 110 in Iowa. And that comes with really thick humidity. Okay. So tomorrow's hot, dangerously hot. All right. But then it gets worse. Tuesday is going to be really the bullseye day. All right. As this thing centers right over Indiana and Illinois. This is Tuesday afternoon, feeling more like anywhere from 104 to 110. Okay, that's hot. That's really hot stuff. And again, I don't hype things very often, but the fact that more people die from heat than tornadoes, flooding, earthquakes, all the stuff you see on apocalyptic movies and the Weather Channel every single day. All right, more people die from heat than that. Okay, so this is stuff that we should take more seriously than a tornado warning. I know it's not fun. It's not fun to talk about because it's like heat, really? It gets hot in the summer. Big deal. This is a big deal. Just take care of yourself. That's all you need to do. All right, AC, stay hydrated, stay out of the heat. My mind goes to construction workers, people that have to work outside, roofers. We might want to call off the project for that day on Tuesday. Okay, super hot. Wednesday is a little bit better. Okay, we're going to get some thunderstorm action around here. I'll show you that in a second. But Wednesday, we're still talking heat indices in the mid 90s, maybe approaching 100 degrees. It all depends on where thunderstorms go, but that potential for more heats here on Wednesday, although it won't be as bad as Tuesday. Okay, so the way I worded it on my notes here, tomorrow's very hot. The thing you'll notice about tomorrow, all right, kids going to school, playing outside, whatever it happens to be, that humidity is going to ramp up through the day. So it was kind of humid today, but it's going to get really tropical around here tomorrow, especially in the afternoon and evening. So you're going to notice it's hot tomorrow, but you're also going to notice that humidity ramps way up by evening. Okay, it's going to be so uncomfortable tomorrow afternoon and evening. All right, so I've got tomorrow as very hot. Tuesday I have is scorching hot. All right, I've got us at 96 for a high air temperature, but I have dew points from some of that corn sweat in the plains that we talk about. Yes, it's happening. Our dew points are going to skyrocket. So we're going to have an air temp likely around 96 degrees. And our dew point, I've got forecasted in the 75 to 79 degree range. That's crazy. All right. That is the thickest air we can get this time of year. It's going to be so uncomfortable outside. If it was going to be 96 with dry air, then I would say, hey, guys, it's going to be hot on Tuesday. But it's going to be 96 with some of the thickest humidity that we've had all summer on Tuesday. And you put those two numbers together, that's how you get your 110. just nasty, 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 nasty. Okay. So I've got very hot tomorrow, scorching on Tuesday, and then hot on Wednesday and Thursday as well. We don't get much relief. I've got us at 89 for a high Wednesday, 89 on Thursday as well. Dew points still stay elevated. All right. Dew points are still probably going to be in the mid 70s those days. So it's still going to be super uncomfortable. I don't want us to think Wednesday and Thursday are like slack days where we get refreshing air. Okay. So then here we go. This is Thursday now. Thursday still on the hot side. This all depends on where thunderstorms develop. And then watch this on into Friday. Look at the change. See the cooler air working in? The hot stuff's getting pushed off towards the east. That's a good sign. I'll show you why in a second. And then look at this by Saturday afternoon, feeling more like 79 degrees. Oh, amen. It's going to be great. We've got a whole week to get through first. Okay. All right. Let's talk storm chances. This is the kind of weather pattern that the models are awful. Okay. They just don't get it because it's so complex. Storms blow up where they want to, and they become these huge, severe complexes, sometimes when the models don't even see them. And then where those end up going dictates where storms develop the next day. So if the modeling doesn't get the first day right in the modeling, all the rest of the forecast is wrong. But what we do know is that there's going to be storms in the vicinity of Northwest Indiana really over the next couple days. Okay. And the reason why, remember, I'll take you back to that dome of heat. We're on the northern periphery of it. We'll be centered on it Monday, Tuesday, but that northern periphery is not far off. And it's that northern periphery where we get those big explosive thunderstorms where that hot air meets the cool. So they'll be around. And I remember back, this was probably 15 years ago now. That's crazy. Maybe it was 10. It was probably 12. Anyway, either way, at Lakeshore Public Television, when I was the chief meteorologist there in Maryville, I remember a day where I was forecasting 95, maybe even 96, and there were storms possible. And what happened was we saw one of those complexes of storms develop over Lake Michigan, and it swung down across Northwest Indiana. And I remember that day we had storms in the morning. The storms lasted through midday. We had clouds all afternoon. I think we got to like 82 that day, and it totally busted the forecast. That was my worst forecast ever, where I was forecasting 96 and we got like 82. That can happen in this pattern. I don't foresee it happening because that dome of heat's going to be right over us, but we'll see. So here we go. As we go through time, tomorrow looks dry at this point. Tomorrow night into Tuesday, though, is when we're going to have to keep our eye on the radar. The Euro, for example, develops a big complex of storms tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening in Wisconsin. It develops another big one in Iowa. And then it sinks that complex south here tomorrow night into Tuesday. That would be a nasty line of storms if that were to happen, because we've got so much instability out there, right? And then what the Euro does is it dries us out daytime Tuesday. We get scorching hot around here, as we talked about. And then it develops another large complex Tuesday late afternoon into the evening that comes roaring through here. All of these complexes of storms are trying to cool down the temperatures because they're out of control, all right, along that periphery. Bureau dries us out Wednesday. We get kind of a break as the atmosphere's reloading. And then Thursday, we get another round of storms, perhaps. And then Friday, we get this final front through here. And the timing of that's kind of off. But either way, we've got storm potential pretty much every day this week. Any of those could be severe. Let's get a little bit more specific in terms of that. Here's what's happening right now in the atmosphere. Here's our CAPE, or instability. It's off the charts with the humidity and the heat in the plains. It'll be off the charts here locally as well. So any storms that do develop have a really big potential to be severe. And it's not necessarily a high tornado threat with these. It's going to be more of a big damaging wind threat with some of these. And hail, tornado risk is there as well. But there's no guarantee on where these go. And I'll show you why. I showed you that. Let's go to this. So I want to show you. So the Euro model is our global model, right? It shows kind of a big picture thinking in terms of what's going on. All right. So we can't look at the Euro and say, oh, it's going to storm tomorrow night. It's going to storm Tuesday night. There's not a lot of confidence in that. There's some, yes, the potential's there for that. But in terms of timing, what we usually do is go towards the short-term models, the more high-res stuff that go out, 84 hours or less. So when we look at some of the high-res solutions here, I'll show you they're all over the board. All right. So what I'm saying is that the ability of us to forecast, I don't know how to say this, the ability of us to forecast when these storms are going to hit the next couple of days, confidence is super low. You're going to see 100 different forecasts. All right. And that's me being fully transparent with you about the weather forecast. Your phone app's going to change constantly. It's going to say storms, 12 hours from now, and then it'll go away. And you have storms 8 hours from now. This forecast is highly changeable. It's not very well detected. It's kind of a we'll have to wait and see forecast based on what's happening, in the atmosphere that day. So tomorrow, we'll be able to tell what happens tomorrow night. Based on what happens tomorrow night, we'll be able to tell what happens Tuesday morning. It's going to be a very short-term, accurate forecast kind of thing here, okay? So I say that because I don't want people to, watch this or watch a local weather forecaster, whoever that is, and then not watch for 2 or 3 days and say, well, you said it was going to storm Tuesday morning. Well, that's because Monday night didn't go as expected. All right. So I'm just letting you know that this is going to be highly changeable. And there's weeks where you don't need to pay attention to the weather, like last week. And there's weeks where you need to pay attention to the weather and make sure you keep tuning in to the weather forecast. Okay. And I'm not saying you have to get that here, get it wherever you want. We'll be on it, obviously, but I want to make that clear. It's one of those forecasts this week you're going to need to pay attention to, and there's going to be a lot of changes, okay, in terms of storms and where they develop. Here's just an example. This is the HER. Keeps us mainly dry tomorrow. There's an ISO chance there tomorrow morning. That's the heat pushing in. But look at all the action that develops up the north where the jet stream is. That's the periphery of where that cooler air starts. And you notice how it keeps most of this north of here, okay? This is Monday into Tuesday, so we're already in a Tuesday afternoon. We haven't had anything yet, okay? And I could see that happening, but I want to show you the differences in the models and why we need to be careful. This is the wrap, which I don't usually show, but I will show it today. Notice, hold on. Let's go back to the 12Z. Notice how it develops. Wait, what am I doing here? I don't know why this is so short. It should go longer than that. Okay, we're going to skip the wrap. Let's look at the NAM nest, okay? Look at this crazy solution, all right? This brings some storms in here tomorrow afternoon, okay? It develops some, and then it develops big storms north of here. But watch this. It has them all miss us on Tuesday, but it develops action over in Ohio. And then as that ridge kind of ends, it brings it back at us. Look at this nasty line that it develops coming in from the east. I've never seen something like that. That's why I don't like this solution, but I just want to show you like things are possible. All right. We can get some crazy. Look at this line that develops. Everything's going up and around, and then this complex comes in from the east. Can you imagine looking to the western sky all day and all of a sudden you've got severe weather plowing in, like a derecho coming in from the east? I don't see this happening. Look at that. I mean, it goes all the way back towards Iowa until it clashes with this other huge complex that's trying to develop. But this is the atmosphere we're going to be dealing with. It's going to be chaotic the next couple of days. It doesn't mean we're going to have severe weather guaranteed, but there's that potential where things can explode in a hurry anywhere across the Great Lakes with this heat and humidity. But anyway, that's just a crazy solution there. I'll show you the NAM. This one should go out. I mean, NAM's all over the board. It barely has rain any day. So, can we get out of this dry? I don't think we will, but actually, I don't think we will at all. But that's what the NAM says. So that's that. All right. Just giving you all the information. You can do with it what you want. I'll try to sort it out for you in terms of words. But in terms of storm chances, because we're going to highlight that tomorrow, again, hot. There's an isolated storm chance tomorrow. Our better chance for storms is going to be, I would say, late Tuesday into Tuesday night. I kind of like the Euro. I've seen solutions like that before. I like the Wednesday storm chance as well. I think Wednesday's chance is going to be highest out of all the days. And then we get into Thursday into Friday. That's when the frontal boundary is going to be coming in. So let's talk about the front and when this heat ends. Okay. Because that front is going to be something that we're like, yes, it's here. Here are the temperatures. This is what the Euro says. I like this best. GFS is still saying 105 for tomorrow for a high. I don't think so, GFS, but thanks for helping us out 2 weeks ago. The national blend keeps numbers right around here as well. So I do like the Euro here. So here are your temperatures. Again, I've got us at 94 tomorrow. The Euro has us at 90. That's a big difference, right? We'll see who wins. I've got us at 94. I have us at 96. Oh, no, I'm sorry. This has Sunday on here. So Monday, it does have 94. I've got 96 on Tuesday. 94 would be a better forecast because of the storm chance, right? That could knock temperatures down. But I'm going for it. I'm going 96. And then I've got 89 on Wednesday, and I've got 89 on Thursday as well. And then I've got us back into the 80s. I've got 83 on Friday, 81 Saturday, and 84 Sunday. Euro keeps us a little cooler. But the thing I want you to notice is this cold front. So this is the last map I'm going to show you. Then you can ask questions, and then we'll get you out of here. But this is your dew points. Okay, this is how muggy it feels. Dew points tells you just how thick it feels outside. When the number is in the yellow, okay, you don't need to look at the numbers, just look at the colors. When it's in the yellow, you can feel the air. It's humid. Okay, so there's humidity everywhere now. Okay, this isn't like last weekend. When it gets into the oranges, it's tropical. And when you get these white colors, see how these colors are shaded white? That's the real nasty stuff, like as thick as it gets around here. Super, you just go outside, you're sweating and you're just wet. It's gross. A lot of this in the plains is from corn sweat. Yes, we've talked about this many, many times for many years. The corn crop in the plain states, Iowa especially, is almost fully grown now. Okay, it's tasseling. They're picking corn. And that corn puts off a lot of evapotranspiration. So to cool itself off, it's putting water vapor into the atmosphere. There's so much corn in the plains and in Western Illinois that all that moisture is getting put off from corn into the atmosphere, and it's making it more humid. And we can see it on the modeling. It happens every year. The most humid spots in the country are in the Midwest, not Florida, not New Orleans, not the Carolinas, in the Midwest. And sometimes when you get a storm system or a wind blowing from that direction, we can get into that as well, despite the fact we have corn in Indiana, but we don't have as much as they do out there. All right. So watch this. This is the real nasty stuff. These are dew points in the upper 70s and even 81, 82 degrees. Incredible stuff. This is tomorrow. We start kind of dry as we still have a flow coming out of the southeast here. So it's not that humid tomorrow to start, but watch what happens by afternoon. This is your afternoon. We go from a dew point in the morning around 62 to all of a sudden we're in the low 70s tomorrow afternoon and evening. So it gets real thick outside tomorrow evening. Tuesday is just a nasty day. I already talked about this. That corn sweat, that pool of real thick air is right over us. We'll have dew points in the mid to upper 70s. Just disgusting outside. Wednesday, it sticks around. There's your Wednesday. Still just nasty. Thursday, it's still there. And then watch this front come in. I'm going to change time frame here. Look at this front. This is real comfortable stuff behind the front. This is now Thursday afternoon, still thick. So all week we're dealing with humidity. Here's Thursday night into Friday. And the way Friday looks to go is that we start humid. We might get a few storms on Friday with that cold front. And then once that front goes through, this is Friday evening. For your Friday evening plans, we go from 70s to 50s like that. There's going to be a real refreshing blast of some drier air in here just in time for your Friday evening plans as it looks right now. Timing can adjust on that, but the models have handled this for the last 2 weeks in terms of timing. And then next weekend, this is Saturday and Sunday. It's a little humid around here, but it's certainly not what we just dealt with. Okay. So next weekend does look good at this point. We should get a nice front through here on Friday. That should clear us out for the weekend as well, which is great news because it's Labor Day weekend already next weekend. And it looks much more comfortable than what we're dealing with right now. Okay. I know that was a lot of verbal vomiting on you in terms of weather terms and forecasts. I hope it all makes sense. I'd be happy to answer your questions though for you now if you guys have those. Because I'm sure I didn't make sense at some point. Okay. Let's see. So I'm seeing a couple questions. A lot of water rescue stuff. That's good. Or cat rescue stuff. And then Mark says water, water, water. Yes, get Gatorade or Pedialyte's good to get those electrolytes back in. Make sure you guys are hydrated. You're going to need to drink more water than you think you need to. Okay. And I actually use those little hydration packets. I usually use them when I'm training for like half marathon stuff with electrolytes in them. You put them in your water, it makes your water taste good. But also it gets electrolytes back in your body. That's one of the keys as well. Salt isn't the worst thing for you, especially when it comes with Gatorade or an electrolyte packet, something like that. You do need to replace salt in your body as well. Doesn't mean you go to like Olive Garden and start down in their Alfredo or stuff like that. But certainly a lot of things you can do to help cool yourself. Stay cool wherever you are. All right. So there's that. All right. Let's see. Jennifer asked a good question. She says, what is the most reliable weather app? So Jennifer, it's a good question. They're all, to be honest, they're all the same because what your weather apps are doing, they're all using model data. there's no one, there's people writing articles like at AccuWeather and Weather Channel and trying to get you to click on that because that gets their advertisement up. But in terms of the actual forecast components, there's no one sitting there typing in numbers and updating your apps. There's not. Okay, they don't have enough time to do that for every location. So what they're doing is, like, for example, these numbers we're looking at on here, this is model output. Okay, this is what the Euro is saying. It's all automated. And so these models are pulling that model data. It says, okay, when the model runs at 12Z or whatever time it happens to run, update all the numbers based on the location, based on what that model is saying. And so what you're looking at is the raw model data. And it differs in different apps because each app is using different model data. Some are using the Euro, some are using GFS, some are using, the HER, whatever it happens to be. They're all using different models, but there's no actual meteorologist forecasting that. So they're all basically the same. They really are. In terms of radar, it depends on what you're looking for. I still use Radar Scope. It's a great high-res radar. It doesn't tell you future radar, though. I use that to analyze storms. But that's me. I'm a meteorologist. You probably don't need that. So they're all good. They really are. They're not meteorologists, though. And I'm not saying that to stay relevant in an app world. They don't know what Lake Michigan does to our forecast. They just know what the model says. All right. They haven't been, forecasting for a region for 15, 20 years and know all those nuances with the wind in a certain direction and what storms typically do when they enter the region. They fall apart, right? Things like that. So again, I don't say that to say relevant. I just say it's a computer, and the computer's just taking the numbers that another computer spit out and it's giving them to you. So I know you didn't ask for all that, but that's kind of an inside look at what your apps are doing. Let's see. Yeah, Tyler, September does look cooler. It still looks to stay pretty warm for about a week or so into the month of September. But there are signs that, yes, it gets cooler. The heat goes back out towards the west again. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens for sure. Rhonda, you're welcome. Jill, Ohio has a chance to get hit with some of this bad weather for sure. And that's going to be, later Tuesday into Wednesday. We have to keep an eye on those storms. Everyone across the Great Lakes really have to deal with that. Vincent, an Italian would not set foot at Olive Garden. I know. My wife and I used to love Olive Garden when we were in high school. We used to go on dates there. And now, I mean, no offense to Olive Garden, they're not a sponsor of the show, so it's okay. Now I'm just, man, it's not. You're right. It's not Italian food. I think we can make better, stuff here sometimes. It's just loaded with sodium. It's good on certain occasions. Don't get me wrong, but it's just we've kind of changed on that. Craig, great question. Is boating on Cedar Lake safe tomorrow? Craig, it is. I think it's a good plan. Just make sure you're keeping an eye on the radar. There's a chance for a few pop-ups tomorrow. We'll have to keep a closer eye on tomorrow later in the evening into the overnight. Most of the model guidance, again, as we talked about, takes things north of here. But I've seen things change like that in this kind of pattern where we, all of a sudden we're dealing with some kind of complex of storms moving in. So I just want to make sure everyone is very much in tune with what the weather's doing the next couple of days. So I will be posting constant updates next few days. All right. I'll have one in the morning. I'll have another one sometime early afternoon, to make sure we're in line, probably another one before evening. Because I'm going to be checking. I mean, I'm going to be on it because I need to be checking to keep people safe. And so, because I'm checking more frequently, I want you guys to do that as well. And then once this pattern goes away, we can all relax. Okay. Yeah, Maxwell, that's an interesting take for sure. This weather's better than cold, dry weather. I like forecasting this weather because it's challenging. Yeah, it's interesting. It's really interesting the change of seasons around here, and every season's different. And this is definitely the most challenging season when we get patterns like this with those complexes of storms. Jennifer, you're welcome. Yeah, appreciate that. Vince agrees. The Italians stay far away from Olive Garden. I totally get that. That makes sense. Mary, this past week was wonderful. And John says, bring on the snow. I see that. That's awesome. Oh, John, just you wait, buddy. All right. Well, I'm going to go to bed if that's okay. I've got a morning show to do tomorrow morning. You guys should probably do something fun to end the weekend, right? Get some relaxing done, read a good book, watch a good something before you go to bed, and have a good work week. So we're going to be on it this week. Just make sure you're plugged in. I appreciate you guys taking time out of your schedule to join me. I always do. I'm always humbled that people are even listening to me talk about weather. It's just, and cats. Sorry about the cat talk. Anyway, that's it. He's still sleeping. That's awesome. All right. You guys get some sleep and make sure you're plugged in. Guys, don't forget we're on the radio side of things as well every single day. X Rock 103.9, Indiana 105.5, and Z 107.1. You can catch region weather forecasts on those. And there's some expanding we might be doing with the region weather brand. So I'm excited about that. More details to come next couple weeks. Okay. All right, guys, have a wonderful night. Thanks.